Decided to come on this morning and talk about two things. Firstly, a bit of work we were doing yesterday with a client of ours. So our client is a finance broker and business mentor, and came to us yesterday for a bit of service which is really outside the norm, but it's a sort of the type of service that we're getting more and more involved with at Cloud 360 Accounting, mainly focused around our expertise on cloud technology, but also just around systems and processes, which we see as one of the key pillars for any business. So the client came yesterday to talk about their onboarding processes, which is the process of signing up their own customers when someone is deciding to appoint our client. So let's say you've got a small business and they decide that they want to work with our client once a month to do some mentoring and talk about their business and review their own processes and their financial stuff, or they're just coming to them because they need some kind of finance put in place. So our client puts in place finance for like asset purchases, property purchases, hire purchase, leasing, working capital, loans, and so on. So there's all sorts of stuff like that he can do for small businesses. But his main challenge, I suppose, is really an admin one. He currently has 5 documents which he would send out to get signed and either scanned and sent back or posted back. And as you can imagine, these things are never a high priority for the end user. So getting them back and getting them all signed and in place is a bit of a challenge, and it's an admin pain. And there's also the aspect that you want to be able to link other parts of his overall, I suppose, marketing and the client database together to make this all very streamlined. So we are introducing him to a electronic signature package. We're going to look at using the likes of Zapier to create zaps between different pieces of software. So we're going to see if we can get the electronic signature to create a zap with maybe MailChimp to put the client onto the mailing list automatically. We'll also look at some Google Forms, just because they're free and easy, to be able to gather up information such as uploading ID documents and so on, which our client is bound by the money laundering regulations as well. So when he's taking a client on for finance purposes, he has to get their IDs and proof of address and so on. And at the moment, that's all very labour intensive. So we're just trying to streamline that whole aspect of it. But the one thing I did say to the client yesterday actually is make sure you keep the human element in all of this, because it's important for the customer when they're signing up to know exactly what they're signing up for. I mean, someone coming along and needing, a 50k finance facility, a loan for working capital purposes to buy some stock or to finance the business for a period of time, they're generally speaking going to sign up if they're happy with the deal and happy with the rate. But at the same time, it's important to keep the human aspect in it, because they're still fearful even after they've signed up as to what the process is all about. So part of our role for our client, and even for his clients, is to design the system in such a way that we're going to give them a checklist to say, look, here's the steps to go through, and here's the elements of human contact that's going to be as part of that system. So let the software and the connections work seamlessly to gather up stuff that just can be gathered up, but make sure you have some kind of video information going to the client at certain points to say, look, this is what you've got to do, and this is why you're signing this, and this is why you're signing that. And then contact them when everything's done. They say thanks for all of that and talk them through the next steps in the process. So, and we're also going to be really, I suppose, building out on that for the client now. We sort of talked a wee bit about his website. We talked about his sort of social media and marketing strategies at the moment, and how I think they can be improved as part of looking at all of this, because certainly for us, when we looked at how to onboard clients, it wasn't just looking at that one channel, that one procedure. It opened up how we could connect that procedure to other bits of our business, using software to automate it, but also to really improve the customer experience when they're signing up with you. Someone's going to part with their money, so you have to make it comfortable for them and let them know exactly what's happening at each stage of the process. So that was interesting to do yesterday. Second thing just to talk about is in reference to a post today by a connection of ours and a good colleague actually, yes, I've been messaging and speaking on forums and stuff. It's Carla Roberts, and Carla, I think, had a post there to ask about should every customer or client get the same service or the same treatment. So it just spurred me to just maybe comment on that as well. And I had already posted a reply on Kiara's post to say that everybody should get treated the same, regardless of the level of service they're getting or what they've signed up for, or what they're paying, or indeed how they're paying you, because all of these things is down to the customer's choice. They should be given the choice to pick and choose what services they want from an accountant, or you know we could be talking about just small business in general. If someone walks into a shop to buy a new kitchen, should they be treated differently if they're spending $5 grand versus 25 grand? I don't believe they should. I believe everybody should be treated exactly the same, but the level of service they will get will be different because they're paying a different amount. But you got to treat everybody um, as a human. You've got to be courteous. You've got to, be thankful for them coming to you, and you've got to give them a good customer experience. Now, if you have somebody coming to you and spending $5 grand a number of times a year, or it's a repeating exercise, then maybe they will get a bit more niceties, and a bit more of added extras than you will do for somebody who's just coming in one off. Even somebody coming in one off and spending 20 grand versus somebody spending 2 grand but spending it on a regular basis. You can design your customer experiences to suit each type of customer you have differently. The one-off 20 grand job versus the 2 grand a time, but after 10 times that person spent the same amount of money, you'd like them to keep spending with you and maybe refer more people to keep spending with you. So you can design your customer experience and what you're able to offer them and how you're communicating them with them slightly differently, but overall how you treat them should be the exact same. You should be looking to deliver on time, make sure that their payments are up to date, make sure that they're handheld through different parts of the process, and you do it all with a smile, even on your most challenging days. So that's my 2 pence worth on that. I hope it's useful, and feel free to comment if anybody has any comments to make on it.